Hare Krishna, thank you for joining. See, normally we don't have program on bank holiday, but I guess it's Radha Ashtami coming up, Janmashtami just gone, and that spiritual vibe is there to continue. Usually no rest or holidays in Krishna's service. So we shall continue with Radha Madhav. Jai Radha Madhava Jai Kunj Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Jai Kunj Bihari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Jai Giravardhari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Jai Giravardhari Shodhanandan Vraj Jana Ranjan Shodhanandan Vraj Jana Ranjan Yamuna Tiruvanachari Jai Radha Madhava Jai Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Jai Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Hari Hari Bol. Om Agyan Timidasya Gyan Anjana Shalakya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Nama Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Tathaptam Yena Bhutre Samrupa Kadamahyam Tadapti Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadhavetam Savadutam Krishna Setam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kant Radha Kant Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavan Eshwari Rishabhanu Sutadevi Pranmami Haripriya Vancha Kalpato Brihascha Kirpa Sindhuvevacha Patitana Pavnebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo 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 Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swami iti namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Parcharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatadeshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasdi Gaur Bhakt Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Mukam Kroti Vachalam Pangum Langyate Girim Yat Kirpatam Vandeshi Guru Dintaranam Paramananda Madhvam Shitataneshram Hariom Tassat Narayam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saswatim Vyasam Tato Madhuriyat Nashta Preshav Abdureshu Nitya Bhagavata-Sevayā Bhakti Uttam Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Neshtiki Hare Krishna. So we talking about Vishamdev. We're talking about Vishamdev. Actually, last time Vishamdev left his body, and after doing his wonderful prayers in his mind, because his bodily function were now now dysfunctional. And we talk about personal relationships, how they're important instead of impersonal or semi-personal relationships, like with the super soul or the impersonal Brahman. Personal relationship with Krishna is important because that's where the sweetness and the pastimes lie. So we'll continue on 45. So verse 45. Tatra dondubhyo nedu deva manavaditaha shashmasu sadavo rajanam katpethu pushpvarstatayaha. So Tatra is thereafter Dundubeha, drums. Nedu were sounded. Deva, the demigods from other planets. Manav, men from all countries. Vaditha, beaten by. Shashmasu, praised. Sadhavaha, honest. Rajanam, by the royal order. Cart from the sky. Pethu, began to fall. Pushpvrishtayaha, showers of flowers. So Srila Prabhupada explains, thereafter both men and demigods sounded drums in honor, and the honest royal order commenced demonstration of honor and respect, and from the sky fell showers of flowers. So Srila Prabhupada says that Bishop Dev was respected both by the human beings and by the demigods. The human beings live on earth and the similar other planets in the Boor and Boover group of planets, but the demigods live in the Svar or heavenly planets. And all of them knew Bishop Dev as a great warrior and devotee of the Lord, as a Mahajan or authority. He was on the level of Brahma, Narad, and Shiva. So this is compared to them, great personalities, although he was a human being. Qualification on a par with the great demigod is possible only on attainment of spiritual perfection. Thus Bishop Dev was known all over the universes, and during his time interplanetary travel was affected by finer methods than the futile endeavors of mechanical spacecraft. When the distant planets were informed of the passing away of Bishop Dev, all the inhabitants of the upper planets as well as of the earth dropped showers of flowers to show due respect to the departed great personality. This showering of flowers from heaven is a sign of recognition by great demigods, and it should never be compared to the decoration of a dead body. The body of Bishop Dev lost its material effects due to being surcharged with spiritual realization. And thus the body was spiritualized, as when iron becomes red hot when in contact with fire. The body of a fully self-realized soul is not therefore accepted as material. Special ceremonies are observed for such spiritual bodies. The respect and recognition of Bishop Deva are never to be imitated by artificial means, as it has become a fashion to observe the so-called Jayanti ceremony for any and every common man. According to authorized Shastras, such a Jayanti ceremony for an ordinary man, however exalted he may be materially, is an offense to the Lord, because Jayanti is reserved for the day when the Lord appears on the earth. Bishop Dev was unique in his activities, and his passing away to the kingdom of God is also unique. This is interesting. So it's explained the Bishop was a great devotee. He had also been to other planets. He was brought up by demigods, so the demigods knew him very well. It was possible to travel to other planets or the planet system by the use of mantras. And it's mentioned in the purport the residents of the other planets found out that Bishop Dev had passed away. How did they find out? There must have been a kind of social media network system by which different planet residents could get informed. Bishop Dev had flowers showered by demigods. That was to glorify him, rather his dead body as we normally do. So he's being glorified with the flowers, and everybody knew about it. The word got, say, Teen Lok, in the three worlds, everybody knew that Bhishmadev has now passed away. I mean, how many people would get that opportunity? People passing away all the time. So it's the great Bhishmadev. Tasya nirha nadani sampretasya bhargava yudhishthira karai yatpa muhuratam duhukito bhavat. So tasya his nirharan adini, funeral ceremony, sampare tasya of the dead body, Bhagav of descendant of Brigu, Yudhishthira, Maharaj Yudhishthira, Karitva, having performed it, Muhuratam for a moment, Dukitha, Abhavat became. So a descendant of Brigu, who is like Shonak, after performing funeral rituals for the dead body of Bhishmadev, Maharaj Yudhishthira was momentarily overtaken with grief. They lost their great grandfather, and they had a lot of affection for him, and he had a lot of affection for them. So Bhishmadev was not only a great family head of Maharaj Yudhishthira, but also he was a great philosopher and friend to him, his brothers and his mother. Since Maharaj Pandu, the father of the five brothers headed by Maharaj Yudhishthira, had died, Bhishmadev was the most affectionate grandfather of the Pandavas and caretaker of the widowed daughter-in-law Kunti Devi. Although Maharaj Yudhishthira, the elder uncle of Maharaj Yudhishthira, was there to look after them, his affection was more on the side of his 100 sons, headed by Duryodhana. Ultimately, a colossal clique was fabricated to deprive the five fatherless brothers of the rightful claim of the kingdom of Hastinapur. There was a great intrigue common in imperial palaces, and the five brothers were exiled to the wilderness. But Bhishmadev was always a sincerely sympathetic well-wisher, grandfather, friend, and philosopher to Maharaj Yudhishthira. Even up to the last moment of his life, he gave him advice at the last moment. He died very happily by seeing Maharaj Yudhishthira to the throne. Otherwise, he would have long ago quitted his material body instead of suffering agony over the undue sufferings of the Pandavas. He was simply waiting for the opportune moment because he was sure and certain that the sons of Pandu would come out victorious on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. As his lordship Sri Krishna was their protector, as a devotee of the Lord, he knew that the Lord's devotee cannot be vanquished at any time. Maharaj Yudhishthira was quite aware of all these good wishes of Bhishmadev, and therefore he must have been feeling the great separation. He was sorry for the separation of great soul and not for the material body, which Bhishmadev relinquished. The funeral ceremony was a necessary duty, although Bhishmadev was a liberated soul. Since Bhishmadev was without issue, the eldest grandson, namely Maharaj Yudhishthira, was the rightful person to perform this ceremony. It was a great boon to Bhishmadev that an equally great son of the family undertook the last rites of a great man. So Bhishmadev was there in the family. He was their main well-wisher, and they could confide in him and take advice from him. So conflict of wealth is quite common in the material world. Great dynasties have fought over murdered people to get their hands on wealth and power. This is quite common in royalty. A lot of blood is shed. A lot of people get killed over positions, over this material power and wealth. This conflict was very common in India, when the kings would have many wives and many children. So this was a danger, because the kings did tend to have many wives. Many wives meant many children from different wives. When the king died, brothers stepbrothers, even cousins were constantly fighting over the right to rule, right to the wealth. In the meantime, foreigners would come and take advantage of the bickering between the families. And this is what happened to India, because it was always like under royal rule, and then the Muslims, the Mughals, and then the British, they took advantage of the fact that they realized that they were already split. They didn't have to try too hard to split them even more, divide and rule. Okay, we'll go on to the next one. Tustuvur munyo rista Krishnam tadguhya namabhi tataste Krishna hirdaya swasharaman prayahu punha. So Tustuvuha, satisfied Munya, the great sages headed by Vyasadeva, Ristaha, all in a happy mood, Krishnam onto Lord Krishna, the personal Godhead, Tat his Guhya confidential, Namabi by his holy name, etc. Tatha thereafter. They Krishna, Hridaya, persons who always bear Lord Krishna in their hearts, Swa Ashraman to their respective hermitages, Prahu returned Puna again. All the great sages then glorified Lord Shri Krishna, who was present there by confidential Vedic hymns. Then all of them returned to the respective hermitages, bearing always Lord Krishna within their heart. So the devotees of the Lord are always in the heart of the Lord, and the Lord is always in the hearts of the devotees. That is the sweet relation between the Lord and his devotees. Due to the unalloyed love and devotion of the Lord, the devotees always see him within themselves, and the Lord also, although he has nothing to do and nothing to aspire to, is always busy in attending to the welfare of his devotees. For the ordinary living beings, the law of nature is there for all actions and reactions, but he is always anxious to put his devotees on the right path. The devotees, therefore, are under the direct care of the Lord, and the Lord always voluntarily puts himself under the care of his devotees only. So all the sages, headed by Vyasadeva, were devotees of the Lord, and therefore they chanted the Vedic hymns after the funeral ceremony just to please the Lord, who was present there personally. And the Vedic hymns are chanted to please Lord Krishna. This is confirmed by Bhagavad-Gita 15:15. All the Vedas, Upanishad, Vedanta are seeking him only, and all hymns are for glorifying him only. The sages therefore perform the exact acts suitable for the purposes, and they happily departed for their respective hermitages. So Prabhupada explains that you take one step towards Krishna, he takes 100 steps towards you. When you feel that he has taken 100 steps towards you, you want to go towards him. Normally, we would meet people halfway, right? But with Krishna, you take one step, he will take 100. Lord Krishna's main job is to satisfy his devotees. Bhakti is not just the do's and don'ts. It's not just about the behaviors. It is trusting in Krishna and giving our heart to Krishna. There is so much we are holding back because our trust isn't that great. Yet whatever little we give, Krishna accepts and he reciprocates. And all the Vedic hymns are chanted to please Lord Krishna. Even the hymns that glorify the demigods are ultimately there to glorify Krishna. In Bhagavad-Gita, Lord Krishna says, by all the Vedas he is to be known, and that's this verse 15:15. Tato yistro gatva saha Krishno gaja vayam pitram santavyam as gandharim cha tapasvinim. So tatha, thereafter Yudhishthira, Maharaj Yudhishthira gatva, going there, saha with Krishna, the Lord, Gajavyam in the capital name Gajabhya Hastinapur, Pitaram onto his uncle Drishrashtra, Santavyam as consoled Gandharim, the wife of Drishrashtra, and Tapasvinim, an ascetic lady. So thereafter Maharaj Yudhishthira at once went to his capital Hastinapur, accompanied by Lord Shri Krishna, and there he consoled his uncle and aunt Gandhari, who was an ascetic. So this is amazing, Maharaj Yudhishthira, that he still cared for his uncle and aunt. He still gave them respect, even though he could, especially his uncle, could say that it was his fault because he didn't try to stop Duryodhana. He could have just banished him for his misdeeds, but now he encouraged him. Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, the father and the mother of Duryodhana and his brothers, were the elder uncle and aunt of Maharaj Yudhishthira. After the battle of Kurukshetra, the celebrated couple, having lost all their sons and grandsons, were under the care of Maharaj Yudhishthira. So now they were kept by Maharaj Yudhishthira. They were everything was provided by Maharaj Yudhishthira now because he is the king. They were passing the days in great agony over such a heavy loss of life and were practically living the life of ascetics. The death news of Bhishamdev, uncle of Dhritarashtra, was another great shock for the king and the queen, and therefore they required solace from Maharaj Yudhishthira. Maharaj Yudhishthira was conscious of his duty, and he at once hurried to the spot with Krishna and satisfied the bereaved Dhritarashtra with kind words from both himself and the Lord also. So Gandhari was a powerful ascetic. Although she was living the life of a faithful wife and a kind mother, it is said that Gandhari also voluntarily blindfolded her eyes because of the blindness of her husband. A wife's duty is to follow the husband cent per cent, and Gandhari was so true to her husband that she followed him in the perpetual blindness. Therefore, in her action, she was a great ascetic. Besides this, the shock she suffered because of the wholesale killing of her 100 sons and her grandsons also was certainly too much for a woman. But she suffered all this just like an ascetic. Gandhari, although a woman, is no less than Bhishamdev in character. They are both remarkable personalities in Mahabharata. So Gandhari is given a lot of glorification and compared to Bhishamdev. So that was 48. So it says here, the husband behavior should be that of a good husband. The wife should also behave as a good wife. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam describes the duty of husband and wife to each other. So it's not just one side, it's to each other. It's always useful if the couple are both devotees. So, they have the same mentality and they work in the same mode of goodness or passion or, hopefully in the mode of goodness in this instance. Because marriage is not a two-way relationship, it's a three-way relationship. It's between husband and Krishna and wife and Krishna. The couple want to intensify the bond to each other. For that, they need to increase the bond with Krishna. So Krishna should be the center of any relationship. Get closer to Krishna. Since Krishna is the center of both parties, as they come closer to Krishna, they will also come closer to each other as well. So that's the common denominator between the two, Krishna. And if they love, respect, care for Krishna, they will ultimately love, care, respect for each other, provided they're both devotees. So Gandhari is no less exalted personality than Bhishamdev. Just like he followed his duty perfectly, she also followed her duty as a wife perfectly. And he followed his duty as a warrior perfectly. Or even though their duties were different, even though the spiritual elevation was different, most important thing is that they both dutifully performed their service to their roles. That's the amazing thing. And finally, 949. So Pitra Chanumato Raja Vasudeva Chakra Rajyam Dharmena Pitr Pyatamaha Vibhu. So Pitra by his uncle Dhritarashtra and Anumata. With his approval, Raja King Yudhishthir Vasudev Anumodita, confirmed by Lord Shri Krishna, Chakra executed Rajyam, the kingdom, Dharmena, in compliance with the codes of royal principles, Pitar, father, Paitamaham, forefather, Vibhu, as great as. So after this, the great religious king, Maharaj Yudhishthira, executed the royal power in the kingdom strictly according to the codes of royal principles, approved by his uncle and confirmed by Lord Shri Krishna. Maharaj Yudhishthira was not a mere tax collector. He was always conscious of his duty as a king, which is no less than that of a father or a spiritual master. So again, this was not like one way, just collect taxes and don't do anything. He looked after his kingdom and its citizens, gave them full facilities and sport. The king is to see the welfare of the citizens from all angles of social, political, economic, and including spiritual upliftment. That was the way 5,000 years ago. The king must know that human life is meant for liberating the encased soul from the bondage of material conditions, and therefore his duty is to see that the citizens are properly looked after to attain this highest stage of perfection. So soul is passing on from one body to another, different bodies, could be animal, reptile, bird, whatever, but none of them are conducive for perfection or the highest stage of perfection. They are encased, every soul is encased in a body, but only through the human body it can release itself. There is no gateway in any other body, any other type of body. There is no gateway to release the soul. Only the human body has that gateway, has the code, has the key that can get you out of that engagement. Otherwise, you're stuck in that prison forever, for eternity. But from time to time, you get a human body, and there's the opportunity there to escape. There's the escape route through that body, but only you can do that endeavor. Nobody else can do it for you. So Maharaj Yudhishthira followed these principles strictly, as will be seen from the next chapter. Not only did he follow the principle, but he also got approval from his old uncle, who was experienced in political affairs, and that was also confirmed by Lord Krishna, the speaker of philosophy of Bhagavad-Gita. Maharaj Yudhishthira is the ideal monarch, and monarchy under a trained king like Maharaj Yudhishthira is by far the most superior form of government, superior to model republics or governments of the people, by the people. The mass of people, especially in this age of Kali, are all born Shudras, basically low-born, ill-trained, unfortunate, and badly associated. They themselves do not know the highest perfection aim of life. Therefore, votes cast by them actually have no value, and thus persons elected by such irresponsible votes cannot be responsible representatives like Maharaj Yudhishthira. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta reports of the first canto, 9th chapter of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, entitled The Passing Away of Bhishmadev in the Presence of Lord Krishna. So being a king is not just about power, exploitation, and control. And many times that's what it is. They abuse the citizens. The king is no less than a father to his citizens, which means every entity in the kingdom, even the animals and the plants, because they're all jivas at the end of the day, all jivas are part of the family. It's like Lord Ram banished Sita Devi when he found out that the Vasha man, whom he considered his family, was not happy with her presence there in kingdom. He didn't feel that she was worthy of that position. So Lord Ram, he had to make changes. King has to treat everyone equally, like a spiritual master. Maharaj Yudhishthira also did his duty properly. So this is chapter 9, passing away of Bhishamdev in the presence of Lord Krishna. And what a beautiful chapter it was. So much to learn from this chapter. And from the life of Yudhishthira, from Bhishamdev and Yudhishthira, and even Gandhari is mentioned here, how dutiful these personalities were and how it's important to be dutiful in your life. You do your duty properly, focus, and our duty is to have Krishna in the center, to do service to him dutifully with focus and to the best of our ability. And this way we can go back home as well, because like Bhishamdev, because he was so dutiful, he was seen as a great personality. Thank you so much, and like to hear from Kiran Prabhu. And now you have to leave early, so like to hear from you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. No, I'm okay. We've had a change of plan. Collecting somebody much later. Okay. Wow. This confirms the uniqueness of Bhishamdev. He was not just an individual character, he was a unique soul. He was that unique that through mantras and through portals, he was able to travel the universe. And so he had connections with the demigods. And on his death, the demigods became aware of the passing away of a great soul. And as befitting a great noble diplomat, soul, character, personality, the heavens opened up and showered him with flowers and petals. And so this illustrates that Bhishmadev was a key figure in the Mahabharata. To the extent that although he was fighting, although he was serving and fighting for the Kauravas, he had significant respect for the Pandavas and what they went through, their plight. He was their ever well-wisher. The nature of life, material world, material life, kingdoms, political arenas is riddled with duplicity, with betrayal, with hunger for power. And so it was inevitable that this was what was happening between the Kauravas and the Pandavas. And great lessons are being taught to us through these sacred, spiritual scriptures. Because this is not about what happened 5,000 years ago. This is also what's happening in our lives. We have the Yudhishtiras, we have the Duryodhans, and we have Bhishmadevs in our communities and in our lives. We just have to put a name to them. And some of our interactions with people are with people who are in a mode of goodness all the time. There are those who are in the mode of the Duryodhanic behaviors of ignorance and passion. So we come across these people all the time. And hence, what was happening in those days between the two families is what happened and happens in all walks of life. There is a divide and rule. The divide and rule is exploited by powerful colonizers. The divide and rule is exploited by devious uncles. The divide and rule is exploited by people in our families and communities. They will do things to disrupt the hegemony or the natural order that might be unfolding. It's good to have spice in our lives, but too much spice can destroy dynasties. And this dynasty was destroyed by duplicity and the urge for power. Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana. Gandhari was loyal to her husband. So loyal that she put a blindfold on. That level of loyalty you will not see nowadays. Loyalty is a virtue. And that loyalty should be manifest in our relationships with others. Husband, wife, wife, husband. But if we put centrally Krishna at the heart of it, then there is no possibility of ambiguity. There's no possibility of dissonance. There's no possibility of going away from the path of righteousness and justice. And that loyalty provides that opportunity to have unconditional bhakti. Bhishmadev had unconditional bhakti. Arjun and the Pandavas had unconditional bhakti. And hence, Gandhari and Dhritarashtra were mourning the loss of their 100 sons. They were mourning the loss of the fall of Hastinapur. The right, the righteous, and the good will conquer. They say even in other religious scriptures, the good, the weak, and the meek will inherit the earth. This is the thing that are priceless lessons, and that central to this should be our love and devotion for Krishna. That daily realignment with putting divinity at the center of all our activities. Be dutiful as a husband and wife. Be dutiful as a worker. Be dutiful in your relationships with others. Duty and devotion will give the opportunity for Krishna to have a positive glance at us. Follow the duties to the ultimate. Follow your roles and responsibilities in a way that is sattvic and within shastric injunction. Yudhishthira was such a king of the highest impeccable quality. And politicians, kings, rulers could learn a lot from how kings and emperors ruled in those days. They ruled and supported with compassion, dignity, took people together and along Vedic principles. And it's correct that these kind of approaches will still, even the Kali Yuga, because we're in the golden age of the Kali Yuga. This is Vedic perfection in action. Absolute commitment to this process will help us be liberated. The soul, the body, they're the key to escaping that bondage to the body. There is an escape plan. There is an exit route, and that is bhakti. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yeah, I mean, what you said is very interesting because this is the golden age, and we are still able to distinguish between the Yudhishthas, the Bhisham-devs, and the Duryodhans. There might come a time then we might not be able to distinguish between them. You know, the name of Duryodhan comes up so many times in conversations. There was always somebody around us who's compared to Duryodhan. You know, it's a very, very popular name. Although no mother names their son Duryodhan, but as a nickname, you know, people who don't like someone's behavior or the attitude, they'll come up saying, he's Duryodhan, right? I've heard it so many times. They've been compared to Duryodhan. But interesting, like I said, is that you are still able to distinguish that this person is, you know, is not compatible with yourselves anyway. So that means there are people who are compatible still, and there might come a time that everybody will have the Duryodhan mentality. You know what to do then. This is why we need to get out before that situation arises, because truthfulness, there's some truthfulness still there, although it's diminishing day by day. But at least, you know, one of the legs of dharma is still standing, and you know, that's what keeping things going. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Good morning. My pranams to all of you. Yes, and amazingly, Duryodhan was originally named Suyodhan. So by his deeds, he earned this name. So it's not a matter that which
How do you
family.
spell that?
Suyodhan, Suyodhana. So by deeds you earn the merits in this life. So the life is given, which family you're born into, which kind of a situation, what circumstances, you can alter them. The free will is always there with us. So we have to exercise this gift given by the Lord, gift given by the Almighty, that we have given. Once we have this highest form of life, which is a human form, still there is another chance, which is given as free will to, you know, get bhakti, to get the right association, and to have a glorious end like Bhishmadev had. Born into a royal family, in his prime, he gave up his right to become a king. He was the crown prince. Just to fulfill his father's desires, he gave up. And then he lived life just for his state, for his kingdom. And he never broke his promise. He could have left years ago, but he carried on for his beloved grandsons, the Pandavas. He wanted to see the justice being, you know, dished out to them. So in the end, his right desire, they won. Even Lord broke his promise for his dear devotee, Bhishmadev, not to fight on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So this shows that Lord can even change his desires for any soul last moment, if the soul has become, you know, right in his actions, right in his thought, which is right for the dharma. So if we live our life like according to the dharma, according to what Sri Krishna says in Bhagavad-Gita, and what we have seen in the chapters we have covered so far of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the activities of the devotees, they tell us that how how to perform this bhakti. In Bhagavad-Gita, we're told that bhakti is the foremost, and in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, we see how those roles are played, how that bhakti is performed. No matter you're a king, no matter you are living an ascetic's life, a sage, or an ordinary person. So what a glorious end to a glorious life. He was the biggest statesman of all. And even in the end, he was, when lying on the arrows, he was so happy to see his Lord in front of him, because this is what he wanted. This is what he wanted. This is how he wanted to leave this world. And not many lives can say that, oh, we had Sri Krishna there present in person in front of us. And the two questions Yudhishthira Maharaj asked his grandfather, great-grandfather, were, the first one, as we remember, that please tell me the means by which one can become the Lord's pure devotee and thereby enjoy his shelter. And the answer, of course, was to the bhakti, to live your life according to how Krishna has told. So in other words, like Srila Prabhupada has made so easy for us. What is bhakti? Be Krishna conscious. Whatever you do, however you do, just remember Krishna is also there in your life. Like aptly said before, that if there is a marriage between a husband and a wife, there's Krishna also there. If there's a father and children, there's Krishna also there. So when we remember that we all have super soul in each of us, there is Paramatma in each of us, Bhagwan is there as a form of Paramatma in each of us, then the respect, the code of conduct is never broken. Then there is a beautiful, relationship. So this is what is missing in the society, that some souls have forgotten. And it's all their karma, it's all Krishna's doing, because, when the 4 yugas come, the Leelas have to mind. So we are heading towards we are only like 5,000 years into Kali Yuga, but slowly, this yuga will also end, then another cycle of 4 yugas will start. So there's also always a big plan of things in Krishna's Leelas. And the second question Yudhishthira was asked to his great-grandfather Bhishma Dev was about the essential principles of the statecraft. So he knew that he was going to be the emperor of the world, and this was the right time. He was always righteous in his dealings, Yudhishthira. But it's always wonderful to have wisdom from the ones who have lived their life before you, because they have been through all the ups and downs and they can give the best advice. You have to go through all your life and then you can say that this is the wisdom I have earned. But if there is a chance, we should always grab it with both hands from the ones who have lived, our elders in our lives. So what a glorious, glorious chapter we have read and we have completed. Excuse me. So Bhishma Dev has my final thought is that Bhishma Dev has told us that how to be absorbed in the thoughts of Lord, even when the times are really, really difficult. He chose how to live his life, and he didn't break any of his promises, and he lived by the dharma until the end. He was a giver, wasn't he? He was giving the best he could to his great grandsons. He protected them because he was eating from the side of the other Kuru dynasty, the Dhritarashtra's son. So he was keeping the word given to his father that he will look after the ruler. He will be always loyal to the ruler. He was loyal to the ruler, but he didn't forget his ultimate dharma, that he had to look after the sons of his other grandson, Pandu. So what a life, what amazing lessons, and I can't wait to hear the overview on Wednesday night, and after that a new chapter, fresh chapter will be opened in the first canto. So thank you for your association and wonderful realizations. Thank you. And thank you to my dad for joining as well today. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Yeah, Srila Prabhupada says, like, Krishna came to see Vishnudev. Prabhupada always says that don't try to see Krishna. Do something that Krishna will want to come and see you. And this is the essence of Vishnudev, that he did something that Krishna wanted to come and see him. He wanted him glorified, and he wanted him to leave his body looking at Krishna. So thank you all so much. ग्रंथ राशि और भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, गौर प्रेमानंदे,
हरि
हरि
हरि बोल।
हरि बोल।
Hare
Thank you, Kiran Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you to my father-in-law. Hare Krishna.